Good morning, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the weekly energies for today's Monday's Musings. However, I must make a confession. This video is actually being filmed on Sunday to be shared for the Monday, and it's come as a result of shifting things around for others for next week for appointments, and almost a return ability to be able to make the time work for me also. So that feels like one of the keys this week, to know that in what we do for others, we are also paving the way in how we can mold our own energy and our own time as a result. So the reason I have changed and shifted things around for tomorrow is because to not do so, I knew, I could feel, was going against the very energy that was needed for that particular situation. So this week, really taking time to connect to what you feel, not to fight the energies and the forces that are here to support us, but to work alongside them and trust that actually that will come back tenfold. That's what I want to say, but that will come back, and to trust that process. So especially this time of year when we have a lot to get completed, to trust a flow that is necessary, ordered and structured, even if it may not feel like that from our own perspective. It feels like there's an opportunity to realign our desires and wishes and wants with the current energy that's available, because after all, Christmas is a time of the light returning, right? It's a time of miracles, regardless of beliefs. Let's put them all to one side at the moment. It's a time of giving and celebration. How aligned are our own intentions to that this week in particular? So the other thing that I've noticed, I feel like a giggly energy trying to come through. An emphasis being on the trying, allowing that to happen. And as I do, my eyes are drawn to a doorway and a picture of a tree that I painted. And it does feel like this lighter doorway is coming, this upliftment, this enchantment energy coming through. So last night I watched the film Disenchantment at the same time I was journeying with the Queen of Wands, which was perfect because there was an image there that reflected the very card I was journeying with. And again, it's going back to that energy of recognizing even the things that may feel out of our control, out of our own time, out of sync, are all part of realigning what it is we want to try and achieve this month and into next year, and to really trust that, to really be open to what's being reflected back to us now, and know that even the parts we may not quite want to look at are all relevant to the bigger picture. Now, I would say that this feels like old hat, but actually it isn't. It is on a different level, and to be very aware of that, so we can think, oh, I know this. I'm being shown the analogy of when I was a midwife. The thing you never did was assume that you knew what was going to happen, because you would always have egg or normally amniotic fluid on your face. You'd never assume when something is coming, when something is going to happen. You never believe that you know everything, ever. And that really is going to come to light this week, to embrace and be open to the different potentials that are available. We must let go of this view of we know exactly what's going to happen because we've done it before. Releasing those foundations. And now that can be quite daunting because it's what we cling to, right? These patterns, these ways of being, this is what we know. But even myself this morning, I had different ideas of things that I might want to do next year, which are totally, or at least they would seem unrelated to everything I've ever done. But they are as a result of everything I've discovered about myself. So that again feels poignant this week. Even if it doesn't feel relevant to the current path that you're on, really being open to embrace any new opportunities based on the person you now are because of the road that you've walked. The other thing I noticed was I made myself comfy in my chair. I actually sat right down in my chair and really grounded and rooted in. And as I did so, it felt like everything got really big and I got really small. So this week, if there are times where it all feels a bit daunting and a little bit larger than life, ground down into that energy. Get yourself comfortable, because this is the energy we're going to take through in 2023. It is going to feel like there is no control. It is going to feel like a free-for-all, like we're talking the Chariot, a pulling this way, a pulling that way. And what is really, really key is that we are rooted in our place here. Even if we feel really small, it might actually be beneficial to, with humility, recognize just how small we are in the big scheme of things. Okay, so is there anything else? Do I need to say about the batteries? Right, well, this morning I brought some batteries for some of the Christmas lights and normal lights in my home. And several don't work and several do work. Now, the ones that don't work are because they're rusty, or the wires are disconnected, or the very container that they're in is now broken. The ones that don't work are lemon-shaped lights in my kitchen, the bin sensor in my kitchen, and also some pine cones that hang over my fireplace. And what clearly came through today was to stop giving power to the analogy of when life gives you lemons, or the sourness that can come with that acceptance, to stop giving energy to rubbish, to the place where all the rubbish is contained, to stop giving energy to the pine cones that hang above my fireplace, the new beginnings of the pine cones, right? But actually artificial light, and to really focus on the flame beneath them. So as we come into Yule, and I know that we've got a full moon this week, I think it is in Gemini as well, but as we come into Yule in particular, and the 12-12 portal, as we go through these energies, so you've got the full moon, you've got the 12-12 portal, then you've got solstice. As we start to prepare to open to the light available to come in, we are going to be shown places where we need to bring back our attention. Old energies, old patterns, where we need to bring back the light from that now, in order to really, really embrace the opportunity of a completely different transformation available in the flame that's about to come in. So I also dreamt last night that Mount Etna was destroying the world, and it was the end of the world. Now, I have a beautiful affinity with Mount Etna, having visited her before she erupted when I was about 18. And to be stood in the place of such power, but also with such humility and respect, was an incredible feeling. And my dream last night was very much to do ceremony and try and calm that energy down. So this week in particular, taking time to be in the sacredness of what is occurring, taking time to recognize the rites of passage that we're all going through, have been through, and to come, and really honoring the changes, taking time to honor the changes in order to avoid them all apparently coming at once, in order to avoid this overwhelm, this destruction that could occur as a result. We are going into the end of the year. In order to make it the end of the year, taking time to acknowledge what has passed and what has been, really getting the sweetness from everything we have achieved this year, to move on and journey lighter as we go into the Chariot. So I've said that next year is the year of the traveller, and I will say it again and again. It is the year of the traveller next year, and I do mean astral travel, I do mean timeline travel, but I do mean physical travel as well, and movement. What seems to be essential to that is to travel light. And that's in our own energy as well, not just with our possessions, not just with, I see a lot of downsizing, I see a lot of priority building actually. Do I need all of this, or can I put it into this and have more life, do more of this, do more of that? But also remembering our energy. Our body is our biggest vehicle, right? How light are we traveling in our body? What do we need to let go of energetic wise in order to lighten ourselves up to the advanced vibration that is available, the advanced vibration that we actually are, this swift, pure, clear energy that is here now, that has been here for some time, but to really step into that, to really align with that this week. Okay, is there anything else? I think that's 10 minutes in. Let's look at the cards. Avoiding repetition this week feels like key, because when we repeat something, you know, the more we say something, it kind of gets to the point where we dilute the energy that's coming through, and we end up doubting what we're saying, and so do others. So, okay, and that's very much in regards to relationships, because we have the Two of Cups here. But the relationships with ourselves, and the relationships with others, and the relationships with Source as well. So the relationships with our emotions. When we feel the urge to do something, now I'm not saying go and be completely spontaneous, chuck everything away and just move. That's your journey. But when we feel the urge to do something and it's pure, and we want to act on that, if we don't, what we're doing is we're complicating the emotions that we feel. If we overanalyze, you know, when we think back to elemental magic, when we're thinking things through, when we're overanalyzing, we're adding air to the situation. Now, if that's come as a result of a passion, a fire, a drive, that fire is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're going back to the whole Mount Etna scenario. It's going to destroy the very initiation, the very spark of creativity that we may have felt. Okay, so really keeping our elements in stock this week, ensuring that they're flowing, ensuring that we're connected to our emotional intelligence, and connect to others from there, and to Source from there. Okay, and to the whole year, connect to the whole year from there as well. Right, energies this week and how to best navigate them. Connect to them, that's what I hear. Connect to the energies, really connect to them from a new perspective. Obviously having the wisdom of what they have taught us before, but you know, from a new perspective, really connect, really feel, really open our senses beyond our five senses towards embodying them. You know, our sixth sense is all the senses but heightened. Okay, so really taking it up a notch this week with what we feel, what we hear, what we sense, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch. You know, really taking the whole human experience up a notch. And I want to stop shuffling the cards there, and actually we have the Ten of Pentacles at the bottom. Sharing that wealth of life, of physical existence. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, okay, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, overall. Let's just sort them out. Sort them out, that's what I feel. Sort them out this week. Just yeah, sort the energies out, sort the situation out. A real good week of sorting things out. So overall, we have the Seven of Wands. Now, I love the card, the deck that I'm using are the Runic Tarot. I love this card because, yes, the Seven of Wands can come off quite defensive, but in this particular image, the only defense needed is to take it to a higher level. It's the only energy needed, is to take our own vibration up and beyond what is going on for us right now. Not to avoid it. So when I first laid the cards, my initial response was I just didn't feel like I resonated with them at all. Not to avoid it, but to take what we are being gifted, the insights we are being shown, the very fire and passion and drive in front of us to the next level now. However that may come, and that may come in we feel disenchanted. That may come in we feel angry, okay, and the smallest things might spark us. In order to get to that stage, what is it we're not listening to before then? So on the Monday, we do have the Page of Wands, and we do have that fiery energy starting to build, starting to come in. But again, we have that almost that smaller person holding on to something that is almost too big for them here. Is that going to focus? No, and because of that, there is a lack in focus, and that almost feels like key, that it's the lack in focus that makes it feel as if it's too big. So really grounding in, really getting comfortable with what we feel, what we might want, what we might not want, and being okay with our own spirit right now, being okay with our own drive, our own passions, our own growth, that has been, and that we need to acknowledge has to occur. Okay, so next year as we move into the chariot, yes, the physical vessel is going to be very poignant. So what actually is our body telling us today? Monday, sorry, and today because I'm doing this on Sunday, but Monday in particular. Okay, so with that in mind, let's shift my own energy and recognize that I'm reading this for the days to come. So that feels like a great relevance to be grounded in what it is you are seeking, to be grounded in what it is you are reading, to be grounded in the very energy you are looking towards on the Monday. It's that's going to give the focus so that it doesn't feel too much, so that it doesn't feel too big. And actually we can have fun with that then. You know, an ability to actually see what could happen is an incredible gift. It's an incredible gift. But always bringing it back to where we are now and how relevant that is. Because on the Tuesday, we do have the Two of Swords. We do have a need for peace. But again, here, I see the clothes that this character is wearing is the wolf skin. We have a need for peace in the emotions that we feel. And the fact that they may leave us slightly undecided on the Tuesday, because there's work to be done as we go on to the Wednesday, bringing these ideas together. And it's almost like when we separate things, when we see things from a polar perspective, we get to see more angles, but then needing to bring it all back together as the one. So on the Tuesday, I'm trying to think 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Okay, so we're starting to build towards that full moon in Gemini. We're starting to almost feel like I can see the separation of two cells as it's growing. So as we grow, almost like the two sides of ourselves separating in order to then multiply and multiply and multiply and multiply on the Tuesday. There's more for that to come, but being aware of the moment that changed your life. On the Tuesday, that's what I've just heard. Being very aware of the moments actually that have changed your life and the directions that they have led you to, and knowing that each path ultimately leads back to the one anyway. So what did you find in all of these directions, and bringing them forward and creating with that now on the Wednesday. Letting your emotions guide you without over analysing them on the Tuesday, knowing that it is your emotions that actually keep you warm. It is your emotions, although vulnerable, although she is naked on the card, although vulnerable, that actually protect us. And being aware of that, because we can use that in our defence, right? We can become a little bit too defensive because of the things that we feel. So being really aware of that on the Tuesday and keeping that in balance. On the Wednesday, I feel like pausing, even though the card says work, I feel like pausing on the Wednesday. And I can feel that in my higher heart. So on the Wednesday, being very aware of the work you are actually being asked to do, and from what position and what energy. Because when I do that, I can feel my root chakra really grounding in. Less is more. Work smart. Do as you're guided to do, using all of these wonderful insights that we all get. You know, I see a lot of people clock watching, and it's kind of like stepping out of the linear time, feeling into a different structure now. Grounding into your body on the Wednesday is going to help build what needs to come to fruition by the end of the week. So really connecting to your own flow. Now that felt quite complicated to get there, because it's like, well, what is this? Is it this? Is it the universe? Is it that? Da, 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 da. It's all about connecting to your own flow and working with it on the Wednesday. Okay, so not to get distracted from that. Not to get distracted from the workload that comes in, from the other ideas, from the other creative inspirations you may receive, but just remembering, oh, that's a really nice idea, I'll think about that, and just keep working in your own flow on the Wednesday, because it's the Three of Pentacles. But without recognizing our flow, we can become a bit of a slave to spirit, to inspiration, to creativity, and that is not what is wanted. from my own experience, that's never been asked of us. It's about building healthy boundaries in all relationships, including our work-life spirit balance. Okay, really, that feels like the key on the Wednesday. I see the triangle, the masculine and the feminine in balance, the ability to receive and give in balance, the mind, body, soul in balance on the Wednesday. That's where the work lies. It's where it's always lied. Okay. So on the Thursday, when I was drawing out the cards, I always felt like, oh, I just don't want to do anymore, which is interesting because on the Thursday with the full moon, and we just double check, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, I do believe the full moon is on the 8th. On the Thursday with the full moon, we have the Page of Cups and the 10 of Cups. I'm going to be cliche and I'm going to say watch the celebrations. I'm going to say be very aware of what we are celebrating and how we are celebrating on the Thursday. But also to be aware of the caution behind that and to be aware of where that may come from. So, you know, it does feel very cliche. The energy Thursday feels very cliche, and that's all I can say about it at the moment. It just feels like, that's all I can actually feel towards this, even though it's the 10 of Cups and it's like happiness and joy and the Page of Cups, the wonder. My instinct is that it's cliche and I want to move on. So being very aware of what is going on in front of you on the Thursday. The 10 of Cups is also the end of the cups. Remembering that, celebrating what has passed with a view towards the future you're trying to bring in now. On the Friday, we have the 6 of Pentacles. And I feel a blank there. A very interesting energy this week. Okay, on the Friday, yeah, and it feels like it's left over from the Thursday. It does feel like almost like a hungover, not with it, disorientated energy on the Friday as a result of the Thursday. So on the Friday, we have the 6 of Pentacles. And what I want to remind everyone, myself included, watching this back, is to give from where you're at on the Friday, to really, really remember that, so that we don't have this defensive type energy, so that we don't have this I'm done type energy. Because ultimately throughout the week, on the Saturday in particular, we have the Tower card. This is that fire that's been building, even though there's been no real other wands. It's kind of like that feels like key, even though it hasn't been obvious. There's a fire building, there's a light building to be seen, you know, in every situation, potentially the following week, but most definitely by the Saturday. It's like, why haven't I seen this? Why have I been so distracted? I saw this on the Monday, so why haven't I been more aware of the fire behind it? And it is trusting that process. You know, the Tower card isn't about us planning when we discover something. It's about almost not being aware of the change that is coming, and in that getting out of the way. And that feels like key Saturday, not to beat ourselves up, berate ourselves for the things we may not have seen that have led to the change, because actually it was all part of the change, all part of the work. Because on the Sunday we have the 8 of Pentacles. So we've gone from balancing our mind, our body and our soul, and really making that the work in the middle of the week to the end of the week, mastering that. So everything that is occurring this week is all about mastering our own physical abilities and crafts. I really feel that, and crafts, because it's that, the 10 of Pentacles, that we're going to share and move forward with next year. I went to drink my tea then, and it felt like the cup was being moved away from me. Like, I'm trying to drink it, but it just keeps moving further away. As I look at the 10 of Pentacles, which is obviously a boat, and it's sailing across the sea. So what is that? The best way to see what it's all about is to actually look at what's in front of us. Okay, and that feels like the biggest message this week. The best way to see what everything is about is to observe what's going on in front of us. So we have 2 wand cards. So even though it may feel with the Tower, and it may feel a little bit fiery, I have to be aware I'm on the Queen of Wands. So being aware of where you're at, even though it may feel extreme, at times this week, being aware of where you're at, and that it may very well be a reflection of that, because we actually have 2 wand cards. So we have a beautiful balance here, a beautiful union here of the 7 of Wands and the Page of Wands. Looking at what we're creating and where we're creating it from. Are we creating it from a defensive, immature place? Are we creating it from a higher, innocent, purer vibration? Really, really looking at that this week. And is there a difference? Can there be a difference? Really taking that on board. We then have one sword card, which is the 2 of Swords. So the whole mental theme this week is peace in the indecisions, union in the polarities, really recognizing the intuition of our emotional intelligence this week. Because we then have two cup cards. So again, a beautiful balance, like the ones that union of the cups, which is the Page of Cups and the 10 of Cups. So we're going back to that younger energy again, almost letting the inner child take the wheel this week. It's the time of Christmas, right? My husband and I, from the moment the decorations go up, we watch Christmas movies. But yesterday I said we had to watch Disenchantment first, because we have to be open to the magic of people singing in the street and things like that before you begin to watch Christmas films. That was my view, because it's been such a hard year for us to go from that to watching Christmas films. Would have had a bit of a shadow on the characters that we were having reflected back to us. So last night instead we watched a film about being disenchanted, about not, having the adversities of life and being able to find the magic in them first. And now we're going to watch the Christmas movie. So there feels like something in that with embracing our inner child this week in particular, allowing them to take the wheel for a while, but not with us stepping back, embodying that energy, embodying that joy, that belief, that magic, that hope this week, because it does definitely feel as if there's a bit of detachment from that. There's a bit of almost like we've grown up. That's what I sense, almost like we've grown up. And if we're trying to achieve the 10 of Cups, recognizing we're the ones that we may have moved on from that now, and bringing that back in, okay, by seeing the wonder of it all, whatever that may be for you this week, but keeping that in balance, celebrating the wonder. Okay, so Pentacle cards, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 Pentacle cards. We have the 10 of Pentacles, the 6 of Pentacles, the 8 of Pentacles, and the 3 of Pentacles. And it's interesting that I put the 3 of Pentacles at the end, and yet it's that comes first. So recognizing the work that needs to come first, mind, body, soul, masculine, feminine, knowing our own craft, knowing our own flow, that needs to come first and foremost throughout the whole week, because it's that's going to dictate what we can give to others and what we are able to receive. It's that's going to dictate our ability to master our own craft, and it's that's going to dictate what wealth we receive and what wealth we can share. Okay, so really honing in to the physicalness of life, the human experience of life. And sometimes when we come into that, I know personally I can definitely acknowledge that it may not be as enchanting as one would hope when we feel these things, but by feeling them and acknowledging them, we can act on them rather than avoid them. It is up to us to find the magic in life. It is up to us to create it, and the only way we can do that is by recognizing the things that don't quite fan our flames anymore. And then we have one major arcana, which is the Tower card. Okay, so big changes this week. It kind of feels like we may not be aware of them in our everyday things. And that's beautiful, because life is about physically living them. That's beautiful because, it's that chop wood, carry water. It's that embodiment of life itself. So I'm going to put them all back together. How are we doing? 28 minutes. And I'm going to draw. Interesting. I'm not the drawing type, but hey, who knows? Being very aware of the little things that we say, and observe ourselves. observe ourselves for the innate wisdom we may not be noticing. Okay, really, really listen, really, really see, really, really feel what is going on for ourselves this week. So I was going to say one card to help us best navigate it all, but embody ourselves. Embody ourselves. Okay. We do have again the Two of Swords, which has come back out. So again, it's about having that peace with what we feel. It's about having that peace with the indecisions, the polarity, the emotional intelligence actually that is trying to come through. Having peace with our own vulnerable self. This year has been the Lovers. I need a drink. So cheers to the Lovers. Celebrating that. This year has been the Lovers. It's been about relationships with each other, with Source, with our job, with our soul. But actually, it's been about the relationship we have with ourselves as well, and how comfortable we are in seeing ourselves naked, raw, vulnerable. How comfortable we are in biting from the fruit of our own wisdom. How comfortable we are in our actions, looking at our own feminine reflections for the answers and needing to look higher to find them. Because we do have, okay. At the bottom of the pack we have the Fool. We do have that new journey that's available by the end of, not even the end of this week now. It feels like it's available now, regardless whether it's on the Sunday that I'm filming this, the Monday that I share it, whatever day you may be watching it, whatever year even. Gosh, that feels really humbling to know that this may be seen in a few years' time. But whatever year, whatever moment you are seeing this now, whatever time you are feeling this message, being really, really open to the new journey that is going to occur as a result of it. And underneath that we have the Magician and Judgment. This is the Two Swords, guys. This is the Two Swords. Okay, the judgment we have on our own ability to create, the judgment we have on our own connection to the elements within us, the judgment we have on our own power, our own magic. So the Magician's table is the table of judgment, okay, the judgments that we are building upon, the foundations we have created, manifested, crafted upon. There's a new beginning coming with them. So allowing that just to be, allowing that to fall apart. It may feel uncertain this week. It may feel indecisive. Having peace with that. Having peace with celebrating the year that has been. We have the Lovers. We have that reflection of what is going on here. Standing in the middle for the angelic higher presence that we now have the opportunity to become. Take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, year, month, whenever it is you're watching this. Take care. See you soon.